everybody. Welcome to Doc's Daily. I am your quasi replacement host for Mr. Craig Trapp today. And I got two of the big hitters on Doc's here with Griffin Murphy and Nick Menken, and we're looking forward to a good show here on Wednesday. We apologize for that intro music. Now, anytime that I host this show, that's like you're getting a massage in a spa. You know, I'm waiting. I'm
waiting. Some AC/DC.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Oriental girl to come in with the essential oils and start her work down on me. But
the ending.
Yeah, nonetheless, we'll get some rock and roll on there next time I'm on air. Big week this week, obviously in sports now with Major League Baseball underway. We're going to talk about Griff's White Sox real quick. I want to get a little feedback on him tonight about their game tonight. And, of course, Nick always kicks in with his hockey. We'll talk some NBA out of the gate, maybe we'll give you some free leads as well. We got the NIT semis. We got the Crown tournament at MGM Garden. Griff, I was watching my Huskers last night win. On my free play video yesterday, I gave away Nebraska for free. They were down 11 in the second half and come back and win by 8. And at what point in time or how many times does Bobby Hurley have to get his ass coached off in order to lose that Arizona State job? Because Hoiberg for Nebraska ain't all that good, actually.
Tony, it was absolutely insane last night. That game went back and forth I thought ASU was winning that game outright. Last time I looked, I checked the box score because I didn't have the game on. I was actually watching some baseball last night, catching up, studying. And I looked back at that game and I'm like, what in the hell? Because I actually gave out ASU on the show yesterday, plus 5.5 is my free play. So I did let you guys down yesterday. I do apologize on that. But Tony got his Cornhuskers victory, so at least somebody's happy walking away with it.
You mean since you faded my Huskers, I'm going to make you fly back to Kansas City and take a drink of this stuff.
I'm always worried about it, Tony. I'm always.
What is it? They make whiskey in Japan? What is this? It tastes like they make whiskey in Japan. Step up to the plate when you stock my bar when you come to KC, baby. And, of course, Nick, I guess I'll get your just feedback here. We got all week to talk about the Final Four, but for the first time in forever, all 4 number 1 seeds made it to the Final Four. You expected some tight games this Saturday?
Yeah, definitely some tight games, and that's what you expect with this new rule, the NIL, their deal. They're going to the powerhouse schools, and we've seen it here in the tournament. They're buying their way to the Final Four, but you got to tip your cap off to all the 1 seeds. They've been playing phenomenal basketball. In Duke and Houston, that game really interests me. I think it's going to be a tight matchup, and I'm excited for the Final Four this weekend, Tony.
You know, I left a note on my Twitter. You can follow all of us. We'll have Twitters at TGeorgeSports, but with this nil money and the transfer portal stuff going on now, there's no more Cinda frickin' Rella. That's not going to happen now. So I think what they ought to do, they're branching off into this Crown tournament in Las Vegas with mainly Power 5 schools. You have the NIT, you have this CIB or CBI or whatever it is. At the end of the day, I think they ought to make the NCAA tournament. Go ahead and leave the 64-team field. Forget the 4 play-in games, and make that all Power 5 conference schools and the NIT all mid-majors, and have 2 kick-ass tournaments. Now, if a school like Gonzaga or some other mid-major school that always is kind of in the mix, and they're very few. If they want to opt out and try and get an at-large in the big dance, fine. But, there's no reason for McNeese State, Norfolk State, and Robert Morris and these guys there's nothing to play for other than, well, we're going to get in and we're going to get our ass kicked, and otherwise maybe more incentive for them to keep their players from going into the portal and make the NIT a little bit more prestigious get rid of this crown thing. Although if Griffin and I still lived in Vegas, we'd be down at MGM Garden every night watching this thing, different cocktails, watching the Huskers lose tomorrow. But at the end of the day, what are your thoughts on something like that, Griff?
Tony, I completely agree with you. I think it's a complete crapshoot, this crown tournament that we're dealing with right now. I mean, I don't even want to look at these games, let alone. The biggest take, though, is there's value in these games. These teams haven't played in 3 weeks plus. So you could really look at these lines and really be like, why is this team laying double digits when they haven't played in 3 weeks? There's so many incentives that you can capitalize off of value. But going back to the actual NCAA tournament, I couldn't agree with you more. Some of these teams got in, like McNeese State, even though, granted, they did beat Clemson. They beat them outright, which was incredible. But what happened the next game? I want to say they played Purdue or somebody stealthy and got absolutely smacked the hell out of. So, yeah, some of these teams just shouldn't be there. They definitely need some diversification. So I'm totally on board with you here, Tony. Actually, that's the first time I've heard that type of opinion, and I love the way that you approach that one, Tony.
Well, it's because I'm an intellectual and I got a high IQ because I went to the University of Nebraska for 6 years and got a 2-year degree. Now, Nick, interesting about the Crown Tournament last night, Nick, and I gave away Nebraska and I made this comment. I want to get your feedback. Usually when schools like Nebraska, for instance, didn't even make the Big Ten tournament because they sucked so bad they went from being a bubble team to losing 5 straight to not even get in the Big Ten tournament. But here's the deal. The one thing about when they sit around for 2 or 3 weeks and not play a game, you usually don't expect teams to come out of the gate strong. And I thought that we'd see some unders. If the team's a little rusty, all 4 of those games last night, Nick, flew over the total.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at this crown. First of all, what you just said about the whole tournament and the lower mid-major schools, I think that would be a perfect thing for these mid-major schools, because this crown tournament, the NIT tournament, it's just like everybody gets a participation trophy in today's day and age. I cannot stand it. You didn't make the tournament. You guys are losers. Go home. But this whole thing, I'm just fed up with it. They're off 3 weeks, and now you got to have a spread that's -9.5. We don't know. Guys are entering the transfer portal. I just think it's a cluster. The NCAA is just trying to get more money in their pockets. But what you said about the mid-major schools, Tony, I think that's a great idea, because when they do get to those dances and they're playing the number 1 seed, like the Houston, the Auburns, the Dukes, they get absolutely wiped out. So I think that would be a great second look on the whole outlook of the NCAA tournament. But these random, crown tournament, NIT, I think it's too much. I think everybody's a participation trophy, but hey, it's 2025. And I guess that's where the world has come to today, Tony.
Yeah, you put more relevance on something like the NIT and you put more money in it. That always raises everybody's eyebrows now in college athletics. It's all about the money, which is ruining the sport, I might add. Ruining college. It's like putting money into politics. You're screwed. You're never going to get anybody representing their constituents when, this special interest group over here and that one over there is all throwing money at you. Your votes get skewed. You worry about, I think, with some importance added to the NIT tournament, a little bit more prestige, a little bit more interest, because a lot of teams just flat out turn down NIT invites. With a little bit more importance on that, let's see let's all whip them out and see who's got the biggest one, so to speak, in the mid-majors. I will guarantee you that will garner some interest, and it will also garner TV ratings. But that being said, everybody tunes in to the Doc Sports Daily Show. And I hate to bruise everybody's ego. It's not to see Craig Trapp. It's not to see Griff Murphy, and it sure as hell isn't to see Nick. They want the free plays. That's why they're tuning in. And in the Crown Tournament tonight, it's interesting because Griff and I put out some free play videos on the same game.
Yeah.
And a UFC is taking on Oregon State. Now, Central Florida is without their leading scorer in Keyshawn Hall. That's 18 points and 7 boards a game. And on the other side of the coin, of course, transfer portal. And on the other side of the coin, Oregon State transfer portal, 3 starters out.
Yeah.
You know, in their 3 top scorers and their 2 leading rebounders. Again, transfer portal, nil money, ruining college athletics. However, the total in that game is 155, and I leaned under in that one, Griff.
Yeah, Tony, I agree with you here because when you look at the metrics across these teams, we have 2 racehorse teams going head to head. UCF, they are by far offensively stout. This team went 50th across the nation in points per game. They were 14th in pace of play and 77th from the arc. So as public bettors, you can look at this as well. Oregon State, they come into this matchup 20th from the field and 15th from the free throw line and 19th across offensive ratings. So your typical public bettor, without looking at the NIT money, without looking at the transfer portal, anything along those lines, they're going to look at this line and immediately, automatically, their heads go, this game's going over, this game's going over. We got 2 racehorse offensive teams. Tony, I'm in full agreement with you on this matchup. I am on the under 158.5 points in this game, and I am also taking the points here with Oregon State, as I just believe UCF, they're going to come out heavy, but we don't know what to expect from either of these 2 teams, considering the fact that for UCF, 3 of their starters are already going to be out as they've transferred out. So you look at a game like this, and what I look at is the number, and where can I get the points? That's what I'm looking at here. I'm getting points with the Beavers. I'm not getting points with the Knights. So I'm taking the points in this game at 5.5 with Oregon State, Tony.
Nick, I didn't get a script from Craig. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Hosting the show, so I don't know who's got what. We're
all
flying,
good, brother.
We're flying
We're
blind by the
going.
seat of my pants. Do you have a free lean tonight in college basketball? Into the NIT games that interest you at all, or you?
I mean, I guess if I have to do one here with the Crown Tournament, it's going to be that DePaul and Cincinnati. Cincinnati's laying a number here, -9.5. And DePaul, their last 2 games, let's not forget, they took down Georgetown and then they took Creighton into double overtime. They should have won that game. If they play anywhere near that competitive nature they did in that conference tournament, I like the points in my back pocket. Cincinnati lost their last game to Iowa State, I believe, by 20 points. That was. Yeah. I think DePaul comes out. They got, really no superstars on their team. I think they compete here tonight against Cincinnati. I would take the points in my back pocket if I had to take a Crown game, which I don't want it, but I like DePaul here plus the points, Tony.
Okay. Well, let's, by the way, that's my dog, Tucker. He's, that's the dog, and he's barking at the ugly dog. So there you go. Nice job, Tucker. You go over there and eat a bone. Okay, anyway, let's switch gears to pro basketball. And, guys, I'm going to go on a small rant, just real quick, and then you jump in with your comments. The Milwaukee Bucks opened up at 7 points, and now they're down to 5.5 favorites against Phoenix. They should have opened up at 11. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
Just for a minute. Now, first of all, I took Houston against them, their last game. Mm-hmm. Houston laid 2. Was I nervous? No. Should it have been an 8-unit game of the century? Yes, because Houston put a 148-109 beatdown on them.
Yeah.
And just for craps and giggles, the game before against Minnesota, they get hammered 124-109. Yeah. But that wasn't good enough for the Phoenix Suns as we rewind back 3 games where they get handed just a behind the woodshed ass kicking. In that game, ladies and gentlemen, that was a 102-132 loss.
Yeah.
Now, I got a question for you. That's 3 losses by 74 points. That's 24.6 points per game. And, oh, by the way, I don't give a rat's ass if Lillard is not playing tonight for the Bucks, because guess who's not playing for the Phoenix Suns? That would be Kevin Durant. Nick, is this line weak?
This line is very, very weak. The Suns 12-25 on the road. No KD. Bradley Beal is a game time decision. I don't care if Lillard's out. This Milwaukee Bucks team is 23-14 at home. I think the Bucks break their 4-game losing streak here and absolutely cover this line. To me, this line, I looked at it this morning. I said, is Giannis and Lillard out? Giannis should be playing here and get the job done. I like the Milwaukee Bucks to cover -5.5 here at home where they play their best basketball here, Tony. I love the Bucks.
And it's a bounce back game. Phoenix got them last time, 108, 106.
And by the way, Griff, to expand upon your outstanding point, as short as it was, the last time Milwaukee played Phoenix, they lost 108-106. We got a little revenge here as well for the Bucks at home.
Yep. Yeah, Tony. This game, Nick said it all. This team can't win on the road. If you bet on them at home, they don't cover spreads. They're the worst covering team in basketball. You never know if Beal's playing. You never know if Durant's playing. You never know if Booker's playing. This team is a falling knife in the West. They have nothing to play for. Meanwhile, you have Milwaukee in that head-to-head race in the East with Detroit and Indiana. So right now, currently, Milwaukee is the spot play. Yes, sometimes when there's a motivational factor, it could be a negative. But in this type of situation, with KD being out tonight and Beal being a game time decision, you could already tell that the Suns are throwing the game. They're done. They don't give a shit about this game. Just to put it simple.
Booker had 28 his last game. I took him under. His prop tonight's 26.5 minus about $1.25. He's the only guy for Phoenix that can score.
Yeah.
He's probably going to eclipse that tonight.
I'd take his assists. He's going to have to swing the ball out to somebody.
There you go. And by the way, for those of you playing the home game where you like to make money betting sports, I have a 7-unit NBA prop tonight on a 2-pack, 63% on the year with NBA props. And the market is it's amazing to me how soft this market remains as we only got like 2.5, 3 weeks left in the season. Mm-hmm. It amazes me how odds makers are still slow to react to trends with players, especially players that are coming into lineups where there's injuries in front of them and they're increased minute and increased points, and yet they don't adjust the points a whole lot. And they don't adjust the line movement that much, Griff.
Yeah, Tony. And all that is Trapp. That's all it is. It's Trapp. Where can we get the public's heads? Where can we look at the numbers? Where can we look at the records? Where can we look at the metrics of what these teams have done all season long, whether it's offensively or defensively? That is the Trapp. This is where you can find value, and this is where the sharp bettor wins opposed to the public bettor, because the public sees all the numbers. They go with what makes the most sense, and typically in circumstances like this, the logical play is the wrong play. You flip the script on them and you go the other way. I as well, Tony, in the NIT semifinals, I have a 7-unit best bet tonight that goes off at 7 p.m. Eastern time, as I find tremendous value in this matchup.
Nick, what do you got going here on a Tuesday?
We got a big day, Tony, in the MLB. We swept yesterday 3-0. We're back tonight here with a 6-unit best bet, 7 o'clock. And also I have a player prop too in the Bulls Toronto Raptors. So make sure to check that out. A little hint, Josh Giddey's playing really well. There's your hint. That's what I got going on at the website there, Tony.
That's an interesting game. Be interesting to see how many minutes he plays or how many shots he gets with Ball, because Ball took the night off last game. So now he's back. And of course, you boys both being in Chicago, you know more about the Bulls than I do. Here on speaking of Major League Baseball, Griff, I'm trying to figure out, this is why I didn't bet it.
Yeah.
I got a total today. And I'm going, I had the run line system last year. The algorithm that we use, that we take short favorites and put run lines on them.
Put up over 20,000 in profit. Yeah, I remember, Tony.
Yeah, well, anyway, we still don't have enough data points right now to make that super effective. But the White Sox,
sure,
9-0 winners yesterday.
Yep. Damn right.
Going up against Richardson from Minnie, who had a 6.48 ERA. Their bullpen's got a bad ERA. Yet the White Sox are getting plus 135 here.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
Tony, this White Sox team, and so I did some really heavy homework during this offseason, and everybody talked about how broken this team was going to be and how bad they were going to be and how they dumped everybody off. The White Sox actually went in and made some really critical moves, and the public is really not aware that this team actually might be a sneaky beast in the AL Central. They're not going to win the division by any means, let alone I'd be surprised if they take third place. But the White Sox right now, they made some sharp moves. They grabbed that one guy out of Texas, left fielder, Nick, what's his name? The guy out of Rangers, long blonde hair, left swinger. Dude's an absolute
Juno or something like that.
Yeah, Janikowski. That's who it is. They grabbed Nick's boy, who Nick actually played with, Maton. Maton is now playing second base for the White Sox. He's absolutely – Nick, did he come out of Virginia Tech with you?
No, I played with him in summer ball, Springfield summer ball, sliders, baby.
Maton, and Maton's an absolute stud. Their pitching right now is number 1 in baseball when it comes to runs allowed against. I know we're early on in the season, but all of these pitchers that have pitched thus far – last season, they started off terrible and all slowly and progressed. And I'm not going to get political. I don't have any inside information, but I have talked to one of the ambassadors of the White Sox, let's just say to speak. And the White Sox made some moves for some health reasons in their locker room. And the moves that they made, if you look around the field, it's very, very noticeable. And this team right now, they're looking very good. They have bats, they have speed, they have good pitching staff, and right now their bullpen does not look bad by any means. So look out for your Chicago White Sox right now, my Chicago White Sox, because right now they are a team that you do not want to fade. And on top of that, this is so early on in the season, nearly every single game that they have, they're going to be a plus value play. So you can also take them for plus value, or you could flip the script, go alternative run line, have them win by 2 and get plus 250 to plus 300 odds on a single individual bet with this White Sox team. They're my sleeper, Tony.
In 4 games, too, with the Chicago White Sox, I will say each starter, 0 ERA right now. Do they break it here tonight?
Yeah.
We'll see. We will see.
Richardson's good.
It's going to be interesting to see. They definitely have the better bullpen, too. Their bullpen's still doing well as well. I've got a question for you. Everybody in the league is going to want to have their bats manufactured by the New York Yankees.
Torpedo.
But I wonder, Nick, I'm going to switch. I'm going to throw this over to you. They opened up as a dog, and now it's a minus 110 game between the Dbacks and the Yankees. And whether this is one of your plays or not, you don't have to reveal it, but 32 runs in 2 games. But the bottom line is Corbin Burns, a guy who's very familiar with the Yankees, is now with the Dbacks. And, of course, the Dbacks had the number 1 offense in Major League Baseball last year. Is this the game where maybe somebody put some runs up? And it's not like the Yankees haven't allowed runs, even though they were kicking the dog snot out of Milwaukee. They were letting them put up runs on them here. This looks like a very interesting game here. Zona might be able to contend in this one today.
It is my premium selection, and it is my top play. But let me tell you, Corbin Burns, this New York Yankees team is very familiar with him. He played with the Orioles here, so just be careful here. The bats for New York, they've been absolutely steamrolling. Torpedo bat, it doesn't matter what kind of wand they are using. It's all about the machine who's using that wand. It doesn't matter. They still hit the ball, and they're hitting it out of the ballpark at a very high rate. But I will just say that, Griff, you could take this game away, as I know we broke it down as well.
We broke it down already, and I know Nick's premium selection, so I don't even want to touch up on this game. But I will say, if I am going to take a play in this, because I'm not going to throw Nick's play out here, I would be looking at a total in this game, and I'd be looking at the under 8.5 runs, because we all know Corbin Burns, he's a phenomenal pitcher. Warren getting his first start of the season, we just saw what the Yankees did, and they absolutely lit it up offensively in their most recent series. So everybody and their grandmothers are going to be looking at this game saying, well, you know what? If they did it once, they're going to do it again. A high total at 8.5, reverse flip. Give me the under 8.5 runs in this game, Tony.
There you go, folks. Switching gears real quick here before we get out of here, and a big announcement, a big podcast announcement coming your way in just a minute. Okay, I'm going to continue to try and make Griffin Murphy famous. It's difficult, but I'm going to try. We'll talk about that in a minute. NHL ongoings right now, Nick. I know you're an NHL guy. Anything jumping off at the board at you today? Any eyebrow raisers? Anything? There's a lot of chalk on the board tonight.
A lot of chalk, but I found a dog here today. We got the Winnipeg Jets headed to Los Angeles. Los Angeles is slight favorites here. Both teams coming off wins in their last game. The Kings, they had a beatdown of the Sharks at home 8-1, but earlier last week they lost at home to the Toronto Maple Leafs here. They are 27-4, I want to say, at home this season. The Jets, they're 23-13 on the road, but this is going to be a duel of goaltenders. You got Hellebuck in net, and you got Darcy Kemper in net, but I like this Winnipeg Jets team to get it done tonight, plus value money here. Take the Winnipeg Jets on the money line over the Los Angeles Kings tonight. Tony. Almost like Craig.
I won. Well, first of all, I'm 1,000 times better looking than Craig Trapp. Let's get that out. Let's get that. If you have to mistake Craig and I got you. We got problems.
Don't hold me to it, Tony. You're better looking. You're better looking.
I'm trying to clean it up. A little announcement here. I've been doing a StreamYard podcast for about the last 6 months. Only do it about once a month. Griff and I have done them. It's more of a raw, candid, filtered, unfiltered type thing now. We didn't put it on YouTube. Now we have some guidelines on YouTube that prevent us from sometimes, freaking out with the language, so to speak. But nonetheless, the Vegas Beat podcast. If you'd like to pull up a bar stool and sit next to me and Griffin Murphy at a bar, at the Mega Bar, at the Circa, watching games, reflecting, looking back, looking ahead, getting raw and candid and unfiltered comments about the betting world in general, how we approach things, maybe a little bitch and moaning session, some outlooks, some betting strategies, successes and failures, just like a fly on the wall, like pulling back the curtain and checking out what Oz is doing along the yellow brick road. That's the Vegas Beat, and it's a show for guys and gals that like to bet sports. It's not just another free pick show. We'll give you some insight into our approach, our craft, our personalities, and you'll find out that we take out the garbage to the curb every Monday morning like everybody else. We just got a crazy job for a living. The Vegas Beat every Wednesday, be up about 3 Central every Wednesday. So be sure and tune in tomorrow. Again, Nick, tell everybody what you got on deck tonight. You got a big Tuesday going on.
Yeah, we got a 2-pack MLB, baby. Like I said, 3-0 sweep yesterday. We got a 6-unit tonight at 7:05 p.m. Make sure to check that out on Doc's grid.
And Griff, besides looking like you're going to go out and kickstart the Harley with the leather jacket on, what else you got going on today?
I've got a 7-unit college basketball play, part of a 2-pack. That 7-unit goes off that 7 goes off at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I've got 4 plays on the MLB Diamond. I have a 3-pack in the NBA side of things, and I have a 3-pack on the NHL Ice. So I've got a full card of games today, Tony, loaded, locked and loaded, and ready to go.
How do you get these for free? Well, look right there at the graphic. We give you a free $60 if you've never been a member of Docs. We'll park it in any new account. It comes with a profit guarantee. It comes with 0 hassles. It doesn't get, you're here for free stuff, right? Get the free stuff right there. Put $30 towards one of Nick's packages. Put $30 towards one of Griffin's packages. Or, put $60 on all my stuff. I don't care what you do. Just get to DocSports.com, thumbs up, subscribe, so you always get notified when we have a show. Any of the handicappers have free picks out. Of course, Nick and Griff do the down and dirty 630. What is that?
630, baby.
Dirty
The dirty
630.
630.
The
Lot of
dirty
energy.
630. I like the name of that show. Also, you've got Scott Spreitzer and IC doing a show on here, some pick shows. Craig Trapp's doing a bunch of stuff. Always Vernon Croy's always got plenty for you to check out here on the website as well. And the website, the best of the best, gather at DocSports.com. I'm sure Craig Trapp will be back tomorrow because my fee for doing this show is so exorbitant that Doc staff can't handle paying me to do this. So Craig will be back tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.